Well, what a beautiful way to be spending a Thursday morning here in downtown Jonesboro, Tennessee's oldest town, as they get ready for their 29th annual garden tour and tea. And I think the hat says it all, right? I've got my gardening and then my tea right up here. She actually made this hat and it's beautiful, so thank you, Nancy. We want to bring Angela Binge back in. And Angela, we were talking about what a special place this community garden is, and you said it really is for the community and maintained by the community.
Right. Well, actually the Garden Club does the maintaining of it, but we did have help with the lady inmates in redoing our garden about 1.5 years ago. And then we also reached out to the local Boy Scout troop to find out if there were any young men looking for an Eagle Scout project. And I say we hit the jackpot because Scout Braden Beecham designed and built this pergola and fence to really bring people's attention into the garden, and it has made such a statement. So we're thrilled about that.
And of course a nice give back too. I see the plaque right here, so kind of shows that the community is involved.
Exactly. So we are thrilled with that. It really he went over and beyond.
That is wonderful. And everybody talks about, of course, when it comes to gardening, I think we learn so much from each other and those that enjoy that. And I understand you have a lot of knowledge. You've been gardening for years and really enjoy it.
I do. I've learned a lot, though, in the redoing of this garden. I've learned a lot about plants. I'm not originally from Tennessee, and many of our people here are not. So this is a great way to come and learn, see what something looks like growing in the garden. Maybe some mistakes, maybe some real successes, but gardening is not static. There's always something changing, and you have to change with it. And sometimes we make bad selections, and sometimes we're surprised by things. But there's a lot of very knowledgeable gardeners in our garden club, and I have learned a lot from them.
And one of the things you were telling me, just like right here, you said we have some of this, and I had to use it just the other day. Tell me about this particular one.
That is yarrow, is also thyme. Yarrow can be used as an antibiotic and a styptic. A styptic is something that stops bleeding. So even soldiers in World War I and some in II even had that in their emergency kit if they were shot or had an injury to stop the bleeding.
So
I even used it last week. You take you can use the fresh or the dry, and it will help stop bleeding and it helps prevent infection.
And you used it last week?
I did. My husband cut his thumb, and I surely did. I got out my yarrow to use for his injury.
And it worked.
It did.
And then let's walk through the garden here. You were telling me you're going to have a work day tomorrow. You were out here yesterday getting it ready, and you can see already a lot of work has been done.
Yes.
And more to go.
Exactly. This area here we call our herbaceous perennials, and in this area is more sun. So, you have to take into account the amount of sun in your yard. So before you go and buy something and plant it, there's some things you need to look at is how big does it get? Many times people buy little plants in the garden centers and they plant it right next to their house, not paying attention to the fact that it gets 12 feet tall and wide, and then they're constantly having to trim and prune, which weakens the plant, and it just makes a mess and makes it such high maintenance. So as we redid this shrub border, we did a lot of research. We have a lot of natives in here, and we have some that are not natives. The natives are a good thing because they come from this area. They're acclimated to our climate. The pollinators prefer natives. So we tried to get a mixture of colors and textures and evergreens and deciduous.
And is that something as gardeners, when you're doing that, you're thinking ahead to bring in those different textures, to add those different colors, let them work together?
Absolutely. It's much more interesting than if you just plant a long row of the same thing. And also, if you plant a long row of the same thing, if one of them dies, then you've got a big hole in your spot, So we've had to replace a few things here. We had such a drought last summer that it was hard to keep up. When any gardener, even if a plant doesn't require as much water as others, the first year of life is so important, or the first year that you plant it, because its roots have been in a pot. and they've not had time to spread out and deepen and so forth. So the first year always takes a lot more watering. So any gardener needs to pay a special attention to that a deep watering, not just, if we just have a little shower that just might make a puddle in the street, that's really not enough, especially that first year. And then we also keep a good layer of mulch in our garden, which helps to keep the moisture, keep the plants from drying out as quickly. And it also helps in the wintertime, in the spring, early spring, when we have those hot days and then cold, and it keeps those roots insulated. So
you're a wealth of information. Oh, I love it. I'm soaking it all in. I'm getting some good stuff. But hey, if you want to meet Angela and others from the Garden Club, you can do that coming up at the 29th Annual Garden Tour and Tea. Get your tickets today. A very special event coming up June 7th in Jonesboro. For tickets and more information, you can visit the website. Thank you so much, Angela. Great to spend some time with you.
Oh, you're welcome.